Here we go. We're starting day 5, and actually we went into day 5 and day 6. Uh, Coming into a small little town here, and happened to notice that there was some very old buildings here. So I did go ahead and decide to tie up. And I decided I was going to go ahead and tie up. I didn't stay here, but I did tie up, and I did have lunch here at a nice little restaurant just down a couple blocks down where I tied up at. But uh, it had so many little old buildings around that I decided I was going to go ahead and videotape that and put it on here. This is kind of what you see while you're on the Erie Canal. There's a lot of the old towns. They're basically all of them are small towns. Uh, the only big town that I can think of that I even went through or went by is Buffalo. Uh, Everything else was just small, small little towns with old buildings, and that's kind of what I decided, to stop here and film some of these old buildings that were around. Some of these were in the late 1800s. Uh, it's hard to see, but I'm actually out there with all those other boats. So I'm kind of zooming in so you can kind of see where I'm at. I tied up at, and again, tie up at these seawalls here, and it's free. They don't charge you to tie up here. They even have electric, and they even have water if if you needed it. But I basically just wanted to kind of take pictures of the little town or take a video of the little town and kind of show that most of these, most of the towns that I went through were kind of like this right here. A lot of the old buildings, and like I said, some of them even date back to the late 1800s. I didn't, film all the plaques and everything because almost every building has a plaque on there when it was built, what it was used for originally, and whether it was there or not while they were, doing after the Erie Canal or before the Erie Canal. Uh, so, and here's some of the interesting little buildings here. They colored them different colors here to kind of show the different architecture. Some of them had square windows, some of them had the tops of them were rounded, and that kind of defined the rounded windows were kind of like the older buildings. The square building, the ones with the square windows and all of that, were kind of some of them afterwards. But it was a nice little town. I loved this particular building right here. Beautiful building. I wish, it was closed, so I couldn't go inside. This was on a Sunday, so I wasn't, I wasn't able to go in. But I figured this will kind of show you what most of the towns were like, because they were. Now here's where I went ahead and tied up the following day, and I decided I was going to go ahead and stay overnight here. The two boats that I just focused on toward the beginning of this film, they both had on the back of the boats, they had that they were from Niagara Falls. And this boat was also part of the group. There was 3 couples, and they were here for a party that they were gonna go to. But they lived in Niagara Falls, which wasn't too far. It was 1-day run from here. So they invited me to go along. They said, hey, why don't you come along and join us? I actually went and talked to them about, I thought about it, and I thought, well, I wonder how far Niagara Falls are from here. And, if I'm pretty close to Niagara Falls, I just couldn't see myself bypassing Niagara Falls when I'm so close. So after talking to them and getting to know them, they went ahead and invited me to this party that they were going to. Basically, as a cookout. A friend of theirs that lives here in this house right here, beautiful house. Uh, his name was, I think it was Mark was his name. Anyway, Mark or Mike, either one. Sorry, Mark or Mike, can't remember, but I'm pretty sure, at my age, I'm forgetting names already. But anyway, very beautiful home. And they went ahead and invited me to go along, and there was three other couples, two boats, and then the other boat showed up later. Turns out they were also friends. All three of them were friends. They were all tied up at the same yacht club in Niagara Falls. Not nearly in Niagara Falls. It was a yacht club called LaSalle Yacht Club. So that's where they were from. And as you can see here, it's a very beautiful home, inside and out. It's an old building too. I mean, this house was built way back in I think 1903 is what he said, or somewhere within that reference. It is an old building, an old house, and it's huge. When you consider for, how old it is for someone to own a house that big, had to have been, somebody that had money. And here are some of the people. This guy right here, Steve, he's the one with the one of the boats, and his wife is somewhere around here too. And then also the other two couples that I kind of hung around with while we were here at the party was John, and there's John sitting there. Well, you missed it, but here comes the girl coming here. Here they are. This is the one on the left was Steve's wife, and the one on the right was Renee. She was John's wife, and there's John sitting right there without the shirt on. That was John. Sitting next to him on the left is Rihanna, and on the right side of John was the Air Force guy. Anyway, he's gonna get the joke, okay? And his friends are gonna get the joke, but nobody else will probably know what I'm talking about. But his actual name is Scott, okay? I know I said, the Air Force guy, because I do know his name. He's turned out all three of these guys, all three of the couples were great. They were very friendly. They were helping me out. And I end up actually following them back to Niagara Falls, because I thought, I'm so close to the falls that it'd be a shame that I come all the way over here and not have an opportunity to go see the falls. So that's actually why I went with them to their, I followed one of them anyway. I followed Scott on his boat. And we went to their marina, the yacht club that they belong to, and I was allowed to stay there for 2 days as a guest. So that gave me enough time to get on my little electric bike and run down to the falls, which was, I would say, about 5 miles from where the yacht club was. So I was able to go and come back in the same day, and I enjoyed the watching the falls and everything. And here, these guys decided they were going to play this game, Jenga, I guess is what it's called. And they seem to know what they're doing, because they're pretty good at it. Obviously, they played it quite a bit of times already before. They know exactly how to tap these blocks to find the loose ones, and that's basically what they're doing, is tapping different blocks, and when they find one that's easy to move, then they know that one's not holding the weight of the rest of them, so they start pushing that one out or in, and slowly they start taking them out. Pretty nice little game they were playing out there. They played this probably 5 or 6 different times with different people playing at different times. Uh, Mike back there in the back, he's got a unique way of playing this game. Uh, while everybody goes around just kind of tapping on it and slowly taking their little blocks out, he doesn't do that. He comes up to him, he taps them, he finds a loose one, and he just like whacks it with his finger. And he whacks it so hard that it basically just falls out of the way. And it does it so fast that I guess it doesn't affect the rest of the blocks or anything. So, and you're going to see him do this later on today. But anyway, it turns out these guys actually turned out to be probably the best time I've had so far since I've been on the loop, I got to admit. Now I haven't finished the loop, but right now they're my number one guys. It was a pleasure meeting all of them. And it was, I loved the fact that, they invited me to come along. And I had, they did a cookout, they did everything there, they had drinks, they had everything we needed. And I basically had a great time. I enjoyed talking to different people, meeting different people from the area. It turns out Mark actually owned some property in Port Charlotte in Florida. And he bought a house there that his dad lives in now. And he bought another piece of property, and he's just now getting ready to start building on it. He plans to, retire from his job or his business. He plans to retire from his business and move to Port Charlotte and to live there. So there was also Steve there, the guy that's playing right now. I think he also mentioned that, they're looking at buying property over there in Port Charlotte. They all kind of, I guess are thinking of retiring down there or down in Florida someday. And they all had the same thing, as they get older, the snow and the cold, it gets old, and they just kind of want to go ahead and keep going and move on. So, and this part right here is kind of like, so probably this is the biggest highlight of my whole trip. Especially for Mark, for him and his wife for inviting me to come to the party here, their little cookout. I had a great time while I was here with them, and of course the other 3 couples that I met, Steve, his wife, John, his wife, and what's his name, the Air Force guy. Had a great time, enjoyed it. His name is Scott, by the way. But anyway, he gets the joke. I really enjoyed it, and so far they're on top of my list as the best time I've had so far on the Great Loop here. They were all nice and friendly. They all, willing to help me in any way. As a matter of fact, when I went to their marina, Scott actually took me to Walmart to pick up some oil that I needed for my outboard, and they were willing to go ahead and help, with anything I needed. So, Scott, thank you for giving me that ride over there. I was able to get the stuff I needed, and going to the falls was probably, something that I'm going to enjoy, because again, when you see the falls or something like that in a movie or in a novel or in pictures and stuff like that, it's nothing like seeing the real thing there by standing, watching all those tons and tons of water coming down. And once again, these guys were tremendous. I want to thank all of them for inviting me. I had a great time. And like I said, right now you're number one on my list for being, having the best time so far. on the Great Loop. I haven't finished the Great Loop yet, so I can't say this is the best, but I guarantee you it's probably going to stay number one for quite a while. And I really don't see it changing because they were so nice and so friendly, you know. I don't know who said people from New York are rude and not very friendly, because these people were from New York, and I guarantee you that they were the best of friends. I made, you know, some friends here while I was here today, and friends that I will always remember. And like I said, it's probably going to be the best highlight that I have so far since I've been doing the Great Loop here. We had plenty to eat, plenty to drink, and it was also fun watching and talking to everybody around as they were talking about, you know, doing what they did for a living. And I think John had mentioned that he retired military, and then I think he also did some time in the reserves, and then retired from the reserves. And then he also went into law enforcement, and he retired from law enforcement also. So he's going to be doing pretty good. I think he's actually retired already. I think Steve is not Steve. Scott is working on retiring also. He's still working now, but he's also he's on his way to record. Now he also was in the military, in the Air Force, and he also retired Air Force. And I think he did the same thing, National Guard, and then retired. And so now he's got this other job that he's working on now. And he says he's got a few more years before he can retire from that. And then he said he'll be good to go after that. Then he wants to go ahead and travel and do things like that. But they were all pretty interested in finding out how my trip was going and everything. Especially when they looked at the boat, you know. It's a 22-footer Sea Dory, but the boat has been real good to me, and so has that engine. I'm kind of surprised that, I haven't had any problems whatsoever with the engine. I did speak to a mechanic about that particular engine, and he says, you know, by the time I get done with the loop, I will have put 5,500 miles on it. And he says that's just about right on the border of where these engines are capable of running before they need not a major overhaul, but they would need I guess some kind of overhaul. I guess maybe change rings and do some stuff like that just to keep it going. But he says I'm right on the border of you know, being able to do the loop with that. So I'm hoping I'll be able to do it, finish the loop with that one engine, because I've really grown to love it. This thing just runs and runs and runs. Haven't had any issues whatsoever. Here are these guys still trying to see who's going to end up, you know, knocking down the blocks, and it's taking them a long time. These guys are pretty good. As you can look at them, they kind of seem to know what they're doing. This is not their first time of playing this game, obviously, because as you keep looking, you know, I think they were counting on how many moves and all of that have been done already, and apparently they broke their record or something for the most moves without knocking down the blocks. So we're getting close to almost ending this party here. After this, we all just went ahead and went back to our boats and decided we were going to leave the following morning, and I was going to follow Scott back to the marina, and then from there I was going to go see Niagara Falls. So that was what was on our schedule. I was going to see Niagara Falls the following day. So they kind of took me in, and they called the yacht club ahead of time to get me a slip where I could go ahead and stay the night, uh, so that I could go see the falls the next morning. And also, Scott, like I said, also took me to Walmart because I needed to pick up some oil for the outboard, because it's a two-stroke. It doesn't mix in with the gas. It has a fuel injected and oil injected system on it, so it really doesn't need to have the mixture in it. But what I do is I do carry that XD100, which is what they recommend for these Evinrude engines, and so far been very good. It's very good on oil. It doesn't burn a whole lot of oil. I've only gotten, I think, 3 gallons since I've been on the trip now. So this 2 gallons that I just bought now, that one there should take me really all the way to I would think to Chicago. I'm not sure, but now here's Renee trying to take one of these blocks out, and I'm not sure, but I think this is where Mark is going to come in and help her out. Steve got right in front of me. Of course, he didn't know I was filming this. What I did is I just put the tablet right on top of the grill, and I turned on the video camera, so it was recording at the time. But you're going to see Mark come up here, and now here he comes. Now watch how all he's going to do is just whack this board, and you can see that it looks like it's going to tip over, but it doesn't. You can see there he just kicked it. What he did is he just took his finger and whacked it, and it flew right out. And that's the way he plays the game. He just whacks them and pushes them out real fast. It did move, like it might tumble over, but it didn't. It went right back up again and stood up. So he too has been doing this for a while, since he does all of his moves are done that way. I guess he figures if it's loose, you hit it fast enough, it just comes loose and it comes out. Here's where I had to tell Steve if he could move, because he was blocking my shot on the game here. But he said, well, he apologized because he didn't know he was there. But anyway, it's no big deal. You know, I just wanted to kind of let everybody see the game that they were playing here. And a great people. There's Rihanna, Renee there, Steve over there, Steve's wife, and Mark all the way toward the back there. Very nice, friendly people. If I had to do it again, I would love to go back there someday and maybe say, hey guys, thank you for everything. I enjoyed it. Next thing, like I said, what we're going to be doing here shortly is we're going to go ahead and as soon as we left here, we just went straight to the boats and decided to call it the day, because we were going to get up in the morning and take off, and we were going to go ahead and head to LaSalle Yacht Club, which is over by Niagara Falls. And like I said, they called ahead of time and got me a slip so I could stay there overnight. I want to thank them for that. Once again, it was, like I said, I mean, everything that I could need, they were there for me. They helped me with everything. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. Love you guys, and hope to maybe someday run into each other. You never know. I did leave them my cards there, so you never know. When they show up down to Florida, I did mention to them if they ever come down to Florida or ever close by the Tampa Bay area, to give me a holler. I'd be more than happy to, you know, show them around or you know, take them out for a drink or something. But here's I think this is where it pretty much is going to end here. Rihanna is the one that actually ends up tumbling the blocks. and this is going to be it, I think. There it goes. So she did it. Anyway, that's the end of this session, and it's actually 2 days worth here. So for everybody, thank you, and this is it. Bye.